You've been given notice. The HOA bylaws are clear, no exceptions, holiday or not.
It's Christmas Eve. I have nowhere to go. My husband just died. I'm carrying his child.
That is not my concern. Rules exist for a reason. You should have planned better.
He always said this neighborhood would protect us. He trusted people like you.
An HOA president named Karen evicted a pregnant widow on Christmas Eve. But what Karen didn't know was that the widow's deceased husband had left behind the most incredible insurance policy imaginable. And when it gets revealed, Karen's face goes completely white. Before we dive in, I'd love to know where you're watching from. Drop your state or country in the comments. And please, hit that subscribe button because this story is going to blow your mind. Merry Christmas, everyone. Let's get started. The snow was falling heavily on Christmas Eve. Sarah Mitchell stood on the porch of her home, 8 months pregnant, watching the last of her furniture disappear into a moving truck. Her hands shook as she held a piece of paper, an eviction notice, 24 hours. That's all the HOA president, Karen Donovan, had given her to leave. Sarah's husband, David, had bought this house 3 years ago. They had spent countless hours planning nurseries, painting rooms, and dreaming about the family they would raise together in this home. They had decorated Christmas trees here. They had fallen asleep on the couch, holding each other, talking to their unborn baby about all the Christmases to come. But David was gone now. He had died 6 months earlier, and everything had changed. After a drunk driver ran a red light, David saved a child, taking the impact himself. He died a hero. Sarah, 32, and carrying their child was suddenly a widow. For 2 years, Karen Donovan had been a difficult HOA president, fining for minor issues, complaining about flower colors, and citing a cracked driveway. David's calm presence had kept her at bay. But with David gone, Karen saw her opportunity. It was November 1st when Karen showed up at Sarah's door with 2 security guards. Sarah was already emotional, already struggling to hold everything together while pregnant and grieving. The dues were due November 1st, Karen announced coldly, standing in Sarah's doorway with her arms crossed. It's December 24th now. That's 53 days late. According to the HOA bylaw section 12.7, I have the right to initiate immediate eviction proceedings. Sarah had tried to explain. I paid yesterday, she said, showing Karen the bank receipt. I paid the full amount, plus the late fee. I've been dealing with hospital bills from David's accident, funeral costs, and pregnancy complications. I was a few days late, but it's paid now. Karen had smiled, but it wasn't a real smile. It was cold. It was cruel. It was the smile of someone who was enjoying this moment. The bylaw states payment must be received within 45 days, Karen replied. You're 8 days past that deadline. The eviction stands. But it's Christmas Eve, Sarah whispered, her hand moving to her swollen belly. I'm 8 months pregnant. Where am I supposed to go? Karen turned to leave. That's not my problem. You have until 6 p.m. tomorrow to vacate the premises. Merry Christmas. And now here Sarah stood, alone on her porch in the snow, watching her entire life disappear down the street. Sarah's childhood Christmas ornaments were gone. David's military medals were packed in boxes she couldn't even carry. The nursery furniture they had assembled together piece by piece, the two of them laughing and sometimes arguing about which pieces went where, was now loaded onto a truck headed to a storage unit she could barely afford to pay for. Sarah sat down on the porch steps. She didn't care that the cold snow soaked through her thin coat. The baby kicked inside her, and she placed both hands on her belly. I'm sorry, she whispered. I'm so sorry, little one. Your daddy would have known what to do. He would have fixed this. But I don't know how to fix this. Tears froze on her cheeks as the wind picked up. Across the street, she could see families through lit windows, gathering for Christmas Eve dinner. Laughter and warmth glowed from every house. Every house except Karen's. Karen's house, the largest on the street, stood dark and empty. She had left that morning for a ski vacation in Aspen, laughing as she drove past Sarah's eviction. This woman had no shame, no conscience, no mercy whatsoever. Sarah was 24 hours away from being homeless on Christmas. She was pregnant. She was grieving. She was completely alone. Her parents had passed away years ago. David's family lived overseas and couldn't help. Her few friends had their own families to worry about on Christmas. She had nowhere to go, nobody to call, nobody could help her. But then, something impossible happened. The sun was setting. The snow was falling harder. Sarah's fingers had gone numb from the cold when she heard footsteps coming up the porch steps. She looked up through her tears. An old man stood at the bottom of her porch steps. He wore a bright red suit trimmed with white fur. A long white beard flowed down his chest. His kind eyes crinkled behind wire-rimmed glasses. For a second, Sarah thought she was imagining him. A mall Santa, probably heading home from work on Christmas Eve. "I'm sorry," she said, wiping her tears. "I'm just leaving. I don't live here anymore." But the old man climbed the steps slowly and sat down beside her. He didn't say anything at first. He just sat there, looking out at the snowy street with her, as if he understood exactly how broken she felt. Finally, he spoke. "I knew a soldier once," he said softly. "A good man, a brave man. He died saving a child from a car accident." Sarah's breath caught in her throat. How could this stranger possibly know about David, about the accident? It seemed impossible. "He talked about his wife all the time," the old man continued. "He said she was the strongest person he knew, said she could handle anything life threw at her, said she was going to be the most incredible mother." Sarah's voice broke. He was wrong. "I can't handle this. I can't do this alone." The old man turned to look at her. "You carried on after he died. You went to every doctor's appointment alone. You worked 2 jobs to pay the bills. You kept his memory alive by being strong. How do you know all this?" Sarah whispered, her voice shaking. "Because I've been watching you, Sarah," the old man said, with a gentle smile. "And I'm very proud of you." Sarah stared at him. There was something familiar about his eyes, something in the way he said her name, but that was impossible. Who was this man? "Who are you?" she whispered. The old man stood up slowly, brushing snow from his red suit. "I'm someone who believes in justice," he said. "Someone who believes that cruelty should never go unpunished, and someone who believes that Christmas miracles are real if you're willing to fight for them." He pulled an envelope from his coat and handed it to her. The envelope was simple, plain, but on the front, in handwriting Sarah recognized immediately, were 2 words. "Trust me." It was David's handwriting. Sarah's hand shook so badly she almost dropped the envelope. "What is this?" she asked. "Open it tomorrow morning," the old man said. 6 o'clock at .m. sharp, and trust me, everything is going to be okay. Before Sarah could respond, the old man walked down the steps and disappeared into the swirling snow. She watched him go, wondering if he had been real at all, or if grief and cold had finally broken her mind. But she was holding the envelope. His handwriting was unmistakable. Sarah spent Christmas Eve in a cheap motel on the highway. The room smelled like mildew and old cigarettes. The heater barely worked. The mattress sagged in the middle, but it was all she could afford. She lay awake all night, one hand on her belly, the other clutching the mysterious envelope. She was too afraid to open it, too afraid to hope, too afraid to let herself believe that somehow, impossibly, David had left her something. At 5:45 a.m., she couldn't wait any longer. Her hands shook as she tore open the envelope. Inside was a single piece of paper, written in David's unmistakable handwriting. Her heart nearly stopped. What that letter said would change everything. She read slowly, her eyes blurring with tears. "My dearest Sarah, if you're reading this, then I'm gone. And I'm so sorry. I'm sorry I won't be there to hold your hand when our baby is born. I'm sorry I won't be there to teach them to ride a bike, to scare away their first dates, to walk them down the aisle. But I need you to know something. I never left you. Not really. Before the accident, I was working on something, a surprise, a plan to protect you and our child, no matter what happened to me. I knew Donovan was a threat. I knew she would try to hurt you the moment I wasn't there to stop her. So I made arrangements. Do you remember my friend Marcus from the service? The lawyer who came to our wedding? I asked him to create a trust, a legal safety net that would activate if anything ever happened to me. Marcus has been watching Karen, documenting everything. Every illegal fine, every violation of HOA rules, every abuse of power. And 6 months ago, the day before I died, I bought something. I bought Karen Donovan's house. She doesn't know it yet. The sale went through a shell corporation, but as of November 1st, the day your HOA dues were supposedly late, you became the legal owner of her property. Which means, my love, that you are now the majority shareholder in the homeowners association. Which means you have the power to remove Karen as president. Which means you can evict her. The man who gave you this letter is Marcus. He's going to help you execute the final phase of the plan. Merry Christmas, my love. Give Karen hell for me. Forever yours, David. Sarah read the letter 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. Her hands shook so badly she could barely hold the paper. David had done this, even knowing he might die, even facing the possibility of never meeting their child. He had protected her. He had thought ahead. He had planned for this moment. He had loved her that much. At exactly 6 a.m., someone knocked on her motel room door. Sarah opened it to find the Santa from last night. But now he wore a business suit. The beard and wig were gone, revealing a middle-aged black man with kind eyes and a warm smile. Mrs. Mitchell, he said, extending his hand. I'm Marcus Johnson, your husband's attorney and friend. Sarah couldn't speak. She just handed him the letter, tears streaming down her face. Marcus read it and smiled. He made me promise to deliver that letter in costume, he said. He said you always loved Christmas magic, said you needed to believe in it again. Is it true? All of it. Every word, Marcus confirmed. Your husband was one of the smartest men I've ever met, and he loved you more than anything in this world. Marcus pulled out a folder thick with documents. Here's the deed to Karen's house. Here's the documentation, proving you're now the majority shareholder in the HOA. Here are 2 years' worth of evidence showing Karen's violations of HOA bylaws, state housing laws, and fair housing regulations. He looked up at her. And here's the eviction notice I prepared for Karen Donovan. We can serve her the moment she returns from Aspen. Sarah's mind was reeling. But why didn't you tell me sooner? Why did you let her evict me? Sarah watched the video, and something inside her transformed. Her grief turned into something else. Anger. Pure righteous anger. When does she get back? Sarah asked quietly. Marcus checked his watch. Her flight lands at 3 p.m. She'll be home by 4 o'clock. He looked at Sarah. What do you want to do? Sarah stood up, both hands on her pregnant belly. She thought of David. She thought of his sacrifice. She thought of his love reaching across death itself to protect her. She thought of every cruel thing Karen had done, not just to her, but to others. The elderly couple had been driven into bankruptcy. The single mother who had been forced out over a lawn violation. The teenage boy Karen had humiliated at a community meeting. I want justice, Sarah said. I want her to feel exactly what she made me feel. Marcus smiled. Then let's give your husband the Christmas present he deserves. At 4:15 p.m. on Christmas Day, Karen's Mercedes pulled into her driveway. She was humming a Christmas carol, still giddy from her ski vacation. She didn't notice the cars parked along the street, didn't see the group of people gathered on Sarah's porch. She was too busy checking her phone, already planning which house to target next for some new violation. Karen grabbed her designer luggage and walked toward her front door. That's when she saw it. An eviction notice was taped to her door. Karen's humming stopped. She ripped the notice down, her hands shaking with rage. What is this? Who dares? I dare. Karen spun around. Sarah stood at the bottom of the driveway, Marcus beside her. Behind them stood a crowd of neighbors who had suffered under Karen's cruelty. The elderly couple, the single mother, the teenage boy. Dozens of people Karen had hurt. What happened next was absolutely priceless. "What is this?" Karen demanded, waving the eviction notice. "This is illegal. I'll sue you." You'll do nothing," Marcus said calmly, stepping forward. "Because, as of November 1st, you no longer own this house." Karen's face went white. "That's impossible. I never sold." "Actually, you did," Marcus interrupted. He handed her a folder. 6 months ago, you sold this property to a shell corporation for $2.1 million. Cash sale. You signed all the paperwork yourself. Karen flipped through the documents, her hands trembling. "This is a mistake. This is fraud. I would never." "You were drunk," Marcus said flatly. "The realtor caught it on video. You barely read the contracts. You just saw the price 30% above market value and signed." He paused. "The buyer was David Mitchell, Sarah's late husband, a soldier who knew you were a threat, who knew you would try to destroy his wife the moment he was gone." Karen looked at Sarah, her eyes wide with shock. "Your husband bought my house," she whispered. "Yes," Sarah said, her voice steady and strong. "And according to HOA bylaws, section 3.2, the owner of the largest property in the development automatically holds majority shareholder status." Sarah stepped forward. "Which means I now control the homeowners association." "No," Karen whispered. "No, that's not. It's already done," Marcus said. He pulled out another document. "This morning Mrs. Mitchell held an emergency board meeting. All residents were notified via email and email you. Apparently didn't check while skiing in Aspen. The board voted unanimously to remove you as HOA president," Sarah continued, her voice cold, but not cruel. "They also voted to investigate every fine, every violation, every eviction you've issued in the past 5 years." Karen's face had gone from white to red. "You can't do this. I'll fight this." You'll do nothing," Sarah said. "Because if you fight this, we release the evidence." Marcus held up a tablet, showing a video compilation. Karen is screaming at the elderly couple. Karen is mocking the single mother's financial struggles. Karen laughed as she fined a veteran for displaying an American flag incorrectly. 2 years of footage, Marcus said. 2 years of documented abuse. 2 years of violations of fair housing laws, harassment, discrimination, and fraud. He looked directly at Karen. "You forged inspection reports. You accepted kickbacks from contractors. You embezzled HOA funds to pay for your vacations." Karen opened her mouth, but no sound came out. "We have everything," Sarah said. "Bank records, emails, testimony from residents, and testimony from contractors you tried to bribe." She stepped closer to Karen. "You have 2 choices. You can leave quietly tonight and never come back, or we go to the police, the State Housing Authority, and the IRS with everything we have." Karen's eyes filled with tears, but they weren't tears of remorse. They were tears of rage. "You can't do this to me," she hissed. "I built this community. I made it what it is." "You terrorized it," Sarah said. "You used your power to hurt people, to feel important, to feel in control." She thought of David, of his sacrifice, of his love. "My husband died saving a child. He died a hero. And his last act, his final gift to me, was making sure you could never hurt anyone again." Karen looked around at the crowd of neighbors, seeing the contempt in their eyes. No one spoke in her defense. No one moved to help her. She was alone. "I need 48 hours, Karen said finally, her voice broken. "To pack, to arrange. You have 24 hours, Sarah interrupted. "The same amount of time you gave me, and you'll leave with only what you can carry, the same restriction you placed on me." Karen's mouth opened in protest. "But it's Christmas," she whispered. Sarah felt a cold satisfaction wash over her. "I know," she said. "Merry Christmas, Karen." Sarah stood in Karen's former house, her house now named, looked around. It was massive. 5 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms, a kitchen twice the size of her old one. Too big for just her and the baby, but perfect for something else. Are you sure about this? Marcus asked, standing beside her with paperwork. I'm sure, Sarah said. Over the next month, Sarah transformed the house into something extraordinary. The elderly couple who had been forced into bankruptcy moved into the first-floor bedroom rent-free, in exchange for helping with the baby. The single mother who had been evicted took the second floor with her 2 children. Her rent payments went into a college fund for her kids. The teenage boy Karen had humiliated moved into the basement apartment while attending community college. He paid rent by doing yard work and helping maintain the property. Sarah kept the master bedroom for herself and the baby. But the house became more than just a residence. It became a refuge. A place where people who had been hurt by Karen's cruelty could heal. A place where community meant something again. A place where people took care of each other. And then something else miraculous happened. On January 15th, Sarah went into labor. The elderly couple drove her to the hospital. The single mother held her hand through the contractions, whispering encouragement. The teenage boy paced in the waiting room, as nervous as any family member. And at 3:47 a.m. on January 16th, Sarah gave birth to a healthy baby girl. She named her Hope Mitchell, because after everything, the loss, the grief, the cruelty, the loneliness, Hope had survived. 6 months later, Sarah sat on her front porch with baby Hope asleep in her arms. The summer sun was warm on her face. The garden, now full of every color of flower imaginable, bloomed brightly. Across the street, children played. Neighbors chatted on their lawns. Laughter filled the air. The community was healing. Marcus pulled up in his car and walked over with a folder. I thought you'd want to see this, he said, sitting down beside her. Sarah opened the folder. It was a letter from Karen. She almost threw it away, but curiosity got the better of her. Mrs. Mitchell, the letter began, I don't expect you to forgive me. I don't deserve forgiveness. But I wanted you to know that you were right about everything. I spent 20 years building power because I felt powerless. I hurt people because I was hurt. I used rules and regulations to feel in control because my life felt out of control. None of that excuses what I did. Nothing excuses it. I'm in therapy now, working on becoming a better person. It's hard. Some days I fail, but I think about you every day, about your husband, about what real strength looks like. He was a hero, not because he died saving someone. He was a hero because he protected the person he loved even after he was gone. That's true love, true sacrifice. I never understood that before. I'm sorry for what I did to you. I'm sorry for the pain I caused. I'm sorry I tried to destroy you on Christmas. You showed me mercy by not pressing charges. You showed me humanity by giving me a chance to leave with dignity. I don't deserve it, but thank you. Sarah folded the letter and looked out at the sunny street. What will you do with it? Marcus asked. Sarah thought for a moment. I'll keep it, as a reminder. A reminder of what? Marcus asked. Sarah looked down at baby Hope, sleeping peacefully in her arms. A reminder that even the cruelest people are capable of change. A reminder that mercy is stronger than revenge. A reminder that my husband's greatest gift wasn't the house, or the evidence, or the plan. She looked up at Marcus, tears in her eyes. His greatest gift was teaching me that true love never dies. It transforms, it protects, it heals. She touched Hope's tiny hand, and it lives on in the people we leave behind. Marcus smiled, tears in his own eyes. David would be so proud of you. I know, Sarah whispered. I feel him every day. In Hope's smile, in the kindness of our neighbors, in the garden that blooms. He didn't just save me from Karen. He saved me from becoming like her, from letting grief turn me cruel, from losing faith in humanity. She stood up, cradling Hope close. That was his real Christmas miracle. Not the house, not the revenge, but the reminder that even in our darkest moments, love finds a way to light the path forward. Snow fell gently on Christmas Eve. Sarah stood on her front porch, the same porch where she had sat broken and alone, exactly 1 year ago. But everything was different now. The house behind her glowed with warmth and light. Inside, the elderly couple was helping the single mother bake cookies. The teenage boy was playing with Hope and the other children. Laughter echoed through the rooms. The front yard was decorated with lights every color imaginable. No HOA regulations, no fines, no cruelty, just joy. Neighbors stopped by throughout the evening, bringing food, sharing stories, and building community. At midnight, Sarah stood in the nursery, watching Hope sleep. Above the crib hung David's military medals. Beside them, a photo of him in uniform, smiling at the camera. "We did it," Sarah whispered to the photo. "We survived, we healed. We built something beautiful." She touched the frame gently. Hope will grow up knowing her father was a hero, not just because he saved a child, but because he taught us all what real love looks like. She smiled through her tears. "Merry Christmas, my love. Thank you for the greatest gift of all, the strength to carry on, the courage to show mercy, the wisdom to choose love over hate." She kissed her fingertips and touched them to the photo. "Hope has your smile, and she'll have your heart. I'll make sure of it." The baby stirred in her sleep. Sarah gently rocked the crib. Outside, church bells began to ring. Midnight. Christmas Day. Sarah looked out the nursery window at the peaceful, snowy street. A year ago, she had stood on this porch believing she had lost everything, but she had found something greater. She had found that cruelty can be defeated, that justice exists, that love never truly dies, and that sometimes, just sometimes, Christmas miracles are real. Not because of magic or wishes or Santa Claus, but because of sacrifice and planning, and one man's determination to protect the woman he loved even after death. "Thank you, David," Sarah whispered into the silent night. "Thank you for never leaving me. Thank you for the hope. Thank you for teaching me that the strongest revenge is building something beautiful from the ashes of cruelty." She smiled, tears freezing on her cheeks. "Rest easy, my love. We're going to be okay. We're going to be more than okay. We're going to be happy." And as snow continued to fall on Christmas morning, Sarah Mitchell, widow mother, and survivor, held her sleeping daughter close and felt for the first time in a year complete peace, because love had won, justice had prevailed, and hope, both the baby and the feeling, was alive and thriving. Folks, if this story touched your heart, please leave a comment below telling me what you think about what Sarah did. Did she do the right thing? Should Karen have faced more consequences? I'd love to hear your thoughts, and please, hit that subscribe button. We have more incredible stories like this one coming, and you won't want to miss them. Share this with someone who needs to believe in justice again. Merry Christmas to you and your family. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.